bring rhyme to the reason. The reason behind the rhyme. Do the mud on that.
That was 50 minutes of cardio. Straight through on the treadmill at a serious pace of 7.4. I haven't done that at all this year. I haven't needed to, but I think I'm behind on where I need to be if I'm to be honest with myself. And me being honest with myself is so important because I'm self-coached. A lot of the time, if you're being coached by someone else, you rely on them to be objective with you. And I think I've been kidding myself the last 2 weeks, but I'm not going to beat myself up. It's a case of, what are you going to do about it? So I'm sweating right now. I'm going to go get a coffee, go home, charge my phone, and then I will pick this up again and talk to you guys more about what I'm discussing in the next clip. You know you're back doing this prep thing when the mental games start, and boy oh boy have they started, but just this time they're a little bit different to what they were before. So as I'm talking about today's topic, I'm just going to let today's session run through for you. Today's session was a fantastic session, by the way. I'll put all the weights, reps, everything I did. Phenomenal session. Back was super pumped, and that's something I've noticed from the last 2 weeks is while still holding on to a nice bit of leanness, the muscles just appear so full, and I'm already experiencing better energy with my training, and that is just fantastic. I love training, and I love training heavy and hard and pushing myself, so that's been really nice, but that can't last too long. And I suppose that's a nice segue into today's topic. So the mental games have started, but the mental games are this time around, am I behind? I think if I'm to be honest with myself, given the current timeline away from WNBF Worlds, it is 7 weeks out and 3 days, but who's counting? I think with where I'm currently at, it's not good enough. And that is a hard thing to admit, but if I'm not honest with myself, who will be? And this is what I was saying earlier about being self-coached. I have to be objective with myself. And I just think if I was to keep going the way I was going with my calories and activity, that I would be really struggling to play a catch up. So as of yesterday, I made a few changes, because if you're behind, and why I put myself behind in the first place is because I took essentially 2 weeks of a diet break post WNBF. Now, I can justify that. And you can say it was justified. It's like, man, you were dieting for the whole year, you needed a bit of a break. Cool, yeah. And I think I did. Like, psychologically, I was not ready to continue the prep for as long as 11 months it's going to end up being, almost a year by the time we get to WNBF. I said in the last video I was ready to tap out after WNBF in Ireland, but just this opportunity presented itself to join the Irish team, represent yourself and your country, and go to WNBF Worlds in LA, compete in a world stage. And I was like, ooh, I can't really pass that up. So I decided I was going to do it, but took a diet break as a means to give myself somewhat of a break, pump the brakes before I put the foot in the gas again on the accelerator and go hard dieting. But maybe instead of pumping the brakes, I absolutely slammed them and just stopped the car entirely. So what took place during the 2 weeks of diet break? 2 weeks of diet break, I probably put myself into more of a surplus than what was needed. I probably should have been a bit more conservative with my calories, but I will say, guys, I'm only human. Even though I've taken a nice approach with all this stuff, once you get very lean and you've been dieting for majority of the year and you've had this goal in sight for a long time, it is tough post-show dealing with food and hunger and satiety levels not really being there, like eating and being full and satiety levels not really being there. Now, this is something I've had experience with in the past when I did my first ever preps back in 2016, 2017, and I had an horrific I had a horrific post-show experience, both times, gaining weight, too much weight, too soon, not understanding why I couldn't control myself. Binge eating and some disordered eating behaviors. On 2 occasions, I forced myself to get sick after binging. I've spoken about this before. So this should come as no surprise to some of you. Maybe some of you who are new to the channel, you're like, oh shit. Yeah, I went through all of that, and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth regarding bodybuilding, bulking, cutting, all these extremes. So that's why I took a step back for a number of years. Stayed training, but didn't do any extreme regarding bulking or cutting. I essentially needed to heal my relationship with food, with fitness, learn a little bit more, get a bit more experience, and become more mature. And I think that's why this time around, when I did the bulk last year, I felt like I was mentally in a very good place to do it, deal with the extremes, and commit to the bulk for the year, which went fantastic, which led me to be like, okay, maybe I can do this prep thing again and redeem myself. So blah, blah, blah. Long story short, we did the prep thing. We did really well. And then I did that diet break, and the diet break was actually fine. I didn't actually binge, or I stayed very controlled at pretty much the same meals. Just the calories were probably a little on the higher side. So I'm actually quite proud of myself and how I conducted myself post-show and how I handled that period. It's just that the fact that I might have eaten too much calories just might have set me back more than what I thought it would. So now we're in this position where we're behind. We have a timeline and we're behind. And now it's a case of, what are you going to do about it? So I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I'm just going to take the finger out and do what has to be done. And essentially, that just means lower the calories even more and up the activity. And when I came to this realization yesterday, that's exactly what I did. I ramped up the steps to over 19,000 yesterday, and I hadn't done a 19,000 step day in quite some time now. And for those of you who don't know, 19,000 steps, that's a lot of walking. That takes up quite a bit of time. Think of it this way, usually 1,000 steps usually takes me about 10 minutes. So that's that much time taken out of your day, just dedicated to steps alone, especially when you've got work, other commitments. It's time consuming, but it has to be done. And I lowered my calories again, which you never want to do. You're like, oh, the calories are already in a good spot. It's like, no, take them away. So that's what I did yesterday. And I've my plan set up for the rest of the week to do that. I may even reconsider the refeeds at the weekends. But essentially, it's time. It's like do or die now. It's like, what are you going to do? It's like, you have to take extreme measures now to get to the place where you want to be. And ultimately, the place I want to be is in better condition, a better look come November 22nd compared to the last 2 shows. I want a better look. I don't just want to show up looking the same. If I was to show up looking the same, I'd be confident I could kind of coast my way back to that condition. But I don't want that. I want to come in a little bit leaner and push myself a little bit more. And I think this last part of the prep season this year, I think this is all just going to be the cherry on top. It's like, okay, now you're faced with this challenge, the last challenge potentially. What are you going to do? Are you going to do what's necessary to get to where you need to be? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try my best anyways. And then at least if I try my best, I can look back on this time and be like, okay, this was a learning experience and you did everything you could. And that's how that's been my experience this whole year. I just wanted to be able to look at the whole thing and be proud of everything I've done and how I've went about it. And up until now, I have been, and I still am. It's just now we just need to put the foot down, because I am behind, and this is the first time I felt behind. It's not a place you want to be, but it's where I am. So that's essentially where we're at. We're digging now at 7 weeks and 3 days out, which in one sense is actually very exciting. And the fact that I feel like I'm on the back burner, that I feel like I'm behind, it's giving me that like rev, that like it ignited the fire in me almost to go back just all in on this stuff again. Because like I said, I wasn't ready to do this, but now I am. So this is where stuff gets real. This is where it gets interesting. And I wanted to be honest with you guys. I wanted to tell you where I'm at, how I'm feeling, and what I'm going doing. Because I think transparency with all this is going to be very important. It's a learning experience for ye as well as me, of things to do and things what not to do, because I'm going to make mistakes as well. So yeah, that's where we're at with everything right now. And look, I'm actually excited. I'm actually very excited. And these are just some of the challenges that come with the prep. And you live and you learn. I took the 2 week diet break, 2 weeks of diet break. It was a great mental break. I needed it. Maybe I didn't need to go as high as I did with the calories, but you live and you learn. So yeah, that's where we're at with everything. Something I also want to add to this is that there is a risk at this point dropping the hammer when body fat is already low, because you risk muscle loss. And while that is a potential risk, it doesn't mean that that is going to happen, especially if you have things in place as you should with contest prep, like keeping protein intake high, making sure you're getting adequate sleep and recovery, and making sure you're training with as much effort as you possibly can in order to retain your performance. If you're doing those things, you most likely will retain muscle tissue. But rate of weight loss when it comes to a contest prep and keeping muscle is also important. But at this stage, this is a risk I have to take, because what's also important is being lean enough when you step on stage. So that's just something I'm going to have to take into consideration with where I'm currently at right now. And something else I also want to bring up is that don't think for a second that I don't think I look good. I know I look good. I'm very happy with how I look. It's just we're talking in terms of being stage ready or not, and there's such a high standard for natural bodybuilding these days that as good as I look, it's not gonna fly on a bodybuilding stage, let alone a world stage. So I don't want anyone thinking, geez, Dave must be suffering from body dysmorphia, post-show or anything. Nothing of the sort, okay? This is just me being real with where I'm at 7 weeks out from another physique show. And there's also the possibility, even though I'm putting the foot down and I think I'm behind, there's also the possibility that there's still some weird water retention going on with my physique in places post-show, which could be the case, but at the same time, I don't want to wait around to see if that is the case or not and lose out on valuable time that I could be seeing more progress. So I just think this is a better approach for me to take anyways, even if there is some water retention. Because I've been looking at my physique in parts being like, you look just as lean here, if not better. This might look watery. Like, I think everything looks really good, bar my midsection and my glutes probably lost a little bit of crispness and tightness, but everything else looks just as lean. Could that be water retention? Potentially. Is it potentially a little bit of fat gain as well? Yeah, it could be. Because imagine how desperate your body is to put on body fat post-show, and then you give it a surplus of calories. It's probably going to try and store that straight away. Hindsight is a great job. I probably should have had this at the forefront of my mind when I was taking my diet break. But like I said, this is all a learning experience for me as well. This is my first contest prep season as a natural bodybuilder, putting on the thong, getting out there, and I'm doing it all self-coached as well. So I know you guys might be learning from my content and all this, but I'm learning too, and it's all very exciting, very useful data, and I know how useful this experience is from doing this like back in 2016 and 2017 and making so many mistakes. Like I carried those mistakes and those lessons into this prep, so it'd be foolish to think that I was just going to, on my third ever time doing this, that I was just going to be flawless in my execution and that this was going to go perfect. That's not the case. There's people out there who do this who have so many seasons under the belt. It's actually insane. Now, I don't know if I want that for myself in my future. I definitely want to do this again. I have goals within natural bodybuilding. But I don't know how many competitive seasons I'm going to do. But my point is that with each competitive season you do, you're going to learn. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to trial things out. It's going to be a learning experience that you're going to carry with you to the next one and the one after that. So yeah, all very exciting, to be honest. As of this morning, I dropped 1 kilo from making those changes yesterday, like a straight kilo. And I was like, boom, let's go hard. So if I can keep that going this week, I may potentially not have to sacrifice the refeeds at the weekends. That is it for this video, guys. I will see you in the next one, and hopefully next week we will be in a much better position than we are this week. We don't need to hope. We will be. If we do what's required, we will be in a better position next week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I hope you're training hard.